this episode of Rock Down South, we sit down with Asking Alexandria. This is a monster of an episode, so you definitely don't want to miss this one. We hope you all enjoy. Let's go.
Hey, this is Sam from Asking Alexandria, and you're listening to Rock Down South.
Welcome to another exciting episode of Rock Down South, your home for rock and country music. Today, we had the pleasure of speaking with Sam Bettley from the hard rock band Asking Alexandria. And I don't even know what to say about Asking Alexandria. These guys are one of the biggest hard rock and heavy metal acts out there right now. They've been absolutely killing it for years, and they put out album after album of cutting edge and amazing tunes. Sam and I talk all about the brand new album titled Where Do We Go From Here, and go into some track by track detail and critique. We also talk about how the band started, coming to America, fatherhood, the worst show Sam has played, and a whole lot more. So without further ado, here's the show. What's up, Sam? How are you doing today, man?
Hey, I'm good, man. Thanks for asking. I'm good. How you doing?
Yeah, asking, because we're going to be talking Asking Alexandria. I'm doing great. Really excited to have you on today, here at the end of the week, and we got an album coming out real soon. It's a great time to talk to you guys.
Dude, exciting times. Yeah, we're all buzzing.
Yeah. So before we get into the album and everything around that, let's take it back. Let's go back to the beginning for a little bit. Tell me about growing up in England and how the band got together.
Growing up in England, wow. I mean, I've been in America for a long time now. It's pretty much the start of the band. Well, growing up in England, I'm from Yorkshire. I'm from the north of England, so and that's probably pretty much where a majority of the band is from. We're all from around the city of York in Yorkshire, and we were just playing. I was on the local scene pretty much, and playing in like local bands, going to like shows before I was even allowed in venues. Pretty much, I had an older brother that was in some punk bands, and I'd help him, load his drums in and stuff to some of these small venues, and I was just in the scene, the local scene, young, so kind of. I've kind of been doing this in England for a long time, growing up around it too. So, from there I went on and went to York College where I did music technology. I ended up meeting Danny and started a little local band with him. Cameron was in our course as well, so he was in a band with James as a separate one. This is like a long story short, pretty much. We're just, and started doing the local scene together really in our bands. And Ben came along and stole us from our bands, our local bands, and pretty much out of the two bands from York, we kind of made Asking with him, and yeah, it was awesome. I love growing up in England. It's way different, It's I come from York, and it's a small city that you can walk around, and it's beautiful. It's got loads of history. It's like it's really gothic. It's really cool as well. I look back because I live in Nashville now, and I always think I took it for granted when I was younger living in England because you don't realize how cool like some of the architecture and stuff is, and I miss the food and all that good stuff. But pretty much that was it really. Since I was 17, I've been living in America. I grew up. I was born and raised in York, and as soon as we started the band and came over here in 08, 09, that was it. We pretty much stayed in America since then.
Wow, that's
Yeah,
awesome. I'm definitely glad that you guys are here in the South. I think that's pretty awesome. You're in Nashville, not too far away.
yeah. I've been here about a year. I've lived all over America, man.
Didn't you
when we
guys live
first
in
started,
Arizona for a bit?
yeah. I actually just moved from Arizona about a year ago. But I was in Arizona for about, I think, like 5, 6 years, a long time. But before that, I was in Texas for a year. Before that, I was in Cali for a few years, and before that, we were in Jersey, and that's where we started pretty much. But you know, been all over the country, but I love it here in Nashville. It's awesome. Been
That's
here a
awesome.
year. It reminds me of England a little bit. We get the
Oh,
seasons. It's green. The people are super friendly. Like it's really cool. I can
that's
definitely see myself
awesome.
calling this home for a while.
We'll talk a little bit more about the South here later on in the show, but you mentioned you came to America when you were 17.
Yeah,
Tell me about making that jump. I think I heard something about you guys living in a van for a short period of time after that.
yeah. We were. That was it, pretty much. We just I don't know what my parents were thinking. Like they just knew this is something. Like I said, I've been doing the whole. My brother was doing bands. And I'd been in bands throughout my whole teens, my early teens, and it was just something that I'd always had such a passion for and really wanted to do. And given the opportunity when the guys called me and said, "Shall we do this? And you want to come over?" And I was like, it was just a no brainer. I genuinely remember I was working. I was a college dropout, so I dropped out of my course that I actually met Cam and Danny on, and because it was, I don't know, I just wasn't feeling it at all, and I just went and got myself a job. I was working in retail. I happened to have my phone on me, and it was ringing during my shift, and I looked at it. It was Danny calling me. I ran into like the staff room, and he's like, "Can you come to my house after work tonight?" I was like, "Yeah, what's going on? Is it good news?" He's like, "It's great news." And I went to his house, and that was it. They offered me, they offered me a spot in the band and said, like, "Do you want to do it? Do you want to come over to America?" And I was like, "Well, let me go." I got back to my parents that night, woke them up out of bed, and was like, "Look, I've just been asked to be in this band. Like, this is what we're planning on doing." And that night, I vividly remember them just saying, "Yes, let's figure it out, let's do it," and got me a ticket, and that was it. I didn't realize Ben kind of stretched the truth a little bit. He said that we had label, we had management, we had all these like things lined up just to get us over there. And when I got there, I was like, we arrived in New Jersey, and we were pretty much living in a van. I was like, all right, well, respect for getting us out here. Now we've got the work. The work actually we have to do the work now. But there was definitely some kind of like stretched truths in the very beginning just to kind of convince us. But at the same time, even if it wasn't the case, I would have personally been like, "Yeah, let's go anyway." But we managed to convince our parents to let us go, or let me go. I was 17, so it was. That's another thing in England. Like, I think that you grow up a bit quicker in England. Like, you leave school at 16. I was working full time before I was in the band, before I even turned 18. So you just tend to do things a bit younger. I've noticed that in America. Like,
Oh yeah.
I had, come on, I had my 18th birthday in America. That's terrible for a British guy. That's like having your 21st birthday in a place where it's 24 to drink. I was like,
Yeah.
I just
Yeah.
remember. But I was young, so my parents were super supportive, really supportive, more than most, I think, in terms of just really believed in me and the guys. And I think that's to be said about all of our families. We definitely had the support, and it was without them, we just definitely couldn't have done it in the beginning, definitely. But yeah.
So you've been in America for quite some time now. But did you consider yourself an American at this point, or
Yeah, I
dual
do
citizen?
actually. I've got my green card. I'm not yet a dual citizen, but I might as well be, because like I feel like a foreigner when I go back to England now. Like, I'm British, of course I am. I've got things in me that you can't take out of me, because I am British. I grew up there. I'm from there. I've got all the. But honestly, there's certain parts of me now. Like, I'm getting to the point where in a couple of years I'll have been in America as long as I was in England.
Yeah.
Uh, I'm 32 now, so we've been over here all of my 20s. And it's I've got American kids too. I've
Yeah.
got a 3-year-old and a 1-year-old. The rest of the guys, apart from Danny, have all got kids. Two American ladies. So it's like, we've definitely bridged the two countries in our own lives to a point where it's like, I kind of see it as one now for myself. But that being said, I would like to go back to England a lot more and visit more, especially now that I've got kids. I took them both over there. Well, Warren, my oldest, over there during COVID, and I was just talking to my dad before this on the phone, and he was like, "Oh, I remember Warren taking his first steps in England." And yeah, we like to go back, as I think James is actually there now. He just took his little lad back to England, and he's there now. So I love America, but England will always feel like home in a sense.
That's awesome, man. That's
Definitely.
awesome. You have 2 kids, 2 boys,
Yeah,
I think.
yeah, 2
3
lads.
and
Yeah.
1, right?
3 and 1. I am in the thick of it right now, dude. I'll tell you now. I thought,
I got a 2-year-old. I got a 2-year-old boy, and I got another child on the way. So I'm in it
oh,
with you.
dear, congratulations.
Thanks, man.
Do you know if it's another boy or?
It's gonna be a girl. It's gonna be a
Oh,
girl.
what?
Yeah.
All right, that's it. See, that's it. Like, my lady Annie, she's like, "Oh, we've got to try for a girl." I'm like, you know what's gonna happen? We're gonna end up having like 5 or 6 boys.
Yep. Well, I'm
You've
one of
nailed
3
it.
boys, so I know how
Oh,
it
really?
is. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, then that age where, just it's a lot, as parents of we're new parents. I still consider myself a new parent for a 3-year-old, but
Oh yeah.
learning every day, man. It's crazy.
How would you say fatherhood has changed you so far?
Um Fatherhood. it's changed me like incredible. I mean, how it's probably easier to try and pick out the things it hasn't changed, because it's changed it so much. I don't know. They're the first thing I think about and the last thing I think about every day. You become you without even realizing it. You become your own needs and wants. They go on the back burner a little bit. You just want to do the best for your kids, and every day, it's like, I don't know. I'm just super grateful, honestly, that I'm able to spend as much time as I am with the kids, because like they're teaching me a lot of patience that I never knew I had. I've got more patience than I ever had. I'm uh I'm a way more easier going, I think, even though I might seem like a stressful person when they're going crazy. Like, I think maybe the band taught me a lot about how to be a dad, because we were so crazy back in the day that I had to deal with people in my band that were acting like kids all the time. So I was ready for it. I'm way long overdue.
Oh man. Well, as much as I'd like to sit here and talk about fatherhood and
Yeah,
other things around that, I think we gotta I think I gotta get back to
let's get into
music.
it. Let's get into it. Yeah,
Oh
definitely.
man, but yeah, I've listened to you guys for a little while, and I think I first became aware of Asking Alexandria, I think back in the Warp Tour lineup days.
Nice,
Um,
nice.
yeah,
The
you guys were
crazy
the
days.
yeah, I think I saw a little bit of you guys at 2011 Warp Tour here in Atlanta.
Yeah, that
And
was
but I didn't really start listening to you. I think I even hadn't even heard anything that you guys had made until I've always been a big Skid Row fan till the 2010 EP.
the Life Gone Wild EP.
Yeah, and I
Um,
listened to that, and Sebastian was like, "Oh, these guys are the next big thing," and everything,
yeah, yeah,
and it was cool. I liked a lot of aspects of the covers that you guys had on there. It was pretty awesome. A band was doing a throwback
yeah,
to
man.
some of my favorite music. Now, I will say, admittedly, I was not the biggest fan of those covers on the vocal performance level.
Oh,
Um,
really?
yeah, so this is me being me
Yeah,
putting
yeah.
it out
No.
there a little bit,
Oh,
but
don't trust me. I can take it.
but no, but here's where it turns around. So I wasn't, and obviously when you compare to Sebastian Bach, I mean that's just like,
Yeah,
what I mean, it's going to be hard. But
totally.
so I actually wasn't the biggest fan, and it wasn't until I think a couple years later that I listened to Asking Alexander and Danny again, and I don't know, if it seemed like he got a million times better in a very short period of time, like to where not only do I think he's a great singer, but he's personally one of my favorite hard rock heavy metal singers out right now. Like
Right.
like the talent that he has vocally is off the charts, and I maybe I'm just an idiot. I didn't see it earlier.
Yeah, I mean, he's definitely adapted and evolved as a person and a singer. We've been doing this for about, wow, coming up to 15 years nearly now. So it's like 14, 15 years. So, we were kids when we started. And I think naturally his voice is definitely kind of developed in a sense where he's matured. And it's a bit strange because we were in a bit of a weird time where like we were kind of pushing the boundaries of doing things like that when we were also seen to be a really heavy screamo hardcore metalcore band, and it was a bit unheard of to do these kinds of covers from a band like that. So he definitely had the stigma of being like this heavy vocalist but always loved and wanted to sing. So maybe there was a bit of that involved in some of his earlier stuff where he was just trying to kind of meld that a little bit better and figure out who he wanted to be and stuff. But um you know throughout our discography, I think that's always been a bit of a battle for Danny. But I think this next one that we've got coming out, like, he's definitely kind of honed in on all of the aspects of all of the his. Have you heard the record?
Oh yeah, we're going to
Okay,
talk
cool. I
about
was
it
just
here in a
checking.
second, but it's
Okay,
it's
cool. I
it's
was just gonna say,
fantastic.
like, he's he's covering things that have he was doing back in the inception of the band, but also kind of he's got the ballads in there too, which he's definitely hugely inspired by classic rock and the likes of Skid Row and stuff, obviously. But he's developed massively, and I think that's something you get with experience and time. And we've been lucky enough to play with the same. Yeah, there was a stint of time where he left the band for a little bit and came back, but like most of our time in Asking is pretty much 95% of the time is for the original members. So when you get that like original lineup, you really get comfortable and really get to kind of um, find your stride a little bit, I think.
Yeah. Well, I just think he technically got better. Like
Yeah,
unequivocally got better, and his technique is just off the charts. And I'm amazed at what he puts out
Um,
there. It's
yeah, he's great. He's great. Naturally really good, and as the years have gone on, he's definitely done great things and done not and made some terrible decisions as well over the years. But that's the thing. That's all part of learning. Like being young and doing what we did as often as we did, and touring and playing and singing and using your voice which is essentially your tool every single day. That's a whole other thing to learn as well. It's like it's one thing to go into a studio and absolutely nail it, but to be able to maintain your voice and and perform and do it night after night after night, tour after tour, we were doing that. And it's about rest and protecting yourself. And
yep.
it's hard because you want to, and this is me talking I'm not even a vocalist, but I've been around it a lot and seen Danny. It's not for lack of wanting to, because that's what you've got to battle yourself. Is like in your own mind, you want to sing after the show, we're playing music, you want to sing, you want to do this, but like, you've got to remember, it's like to chill sometimes. And I couldn't imagine what it must be like for a singer, like, because I'm always singing and shouting and using my voice without even thinking about it. But because it's part of who you are, isn't it? It's your voice. But when you've got to rest it and think of it, there's certain things that you've got to think about that others don't. And it's I think other vocalists will understand that more too. I think they don't get to enjoy certain things that we all take for granted. If you want to maintain a voice and do it and try to take it seriously and have a career out of it for sure. Which, like I said, Danny, he learned that the hard way at times as well, and I think he's come out the other side, and I think that he takes it very very seriously now. And his warm-ups and everything, it's real deal now for sure.
Yeah, I was lucky enough to catch you guys last time you came through Atlanta with Nothing More.
Oh,
And I
right,
think it was one of the last shows that you guys did before you had to drop that tour for vocal
exactly.
issues.
There you go. Like I said, he's learned this the hard way at times, where he's that was horrific. We were having such, that's, I mean, you caught one of the shows on that tour. We were absolutely loving it. We were out there, it was great. And then we were just devastated when we got the news and Danny was told that he seriously needs to stop and he needs to rest, because it could be long-term damage if he doesn't. And at the end of the day, we're all people, we're all humans, we're all best friends, and we care about each other. It doesn't matter about, we want to, I would never want to permanently damage my boy if it meant that we just needed to cancel a few dates, as much as I hate to say it, because we love to play and we love to come and play for the fans. But I'm glad you got to see a show on that tour. It was an
Yeah, yeah.
absolute kick, dude, when we got told like that was it, like, because we were on fire. We felt great. And damn.
No, it was an awesome show. I think it was like on a Tuesday, and dude, you guys brought the house down.
Yeah,
And I think you guys were even talking like, "Oh man, this is pretty impressive for a Tuesday."
yeah, dude, like it was crazy. I mean, yeah, and like I said, probably one of the latter shows before it all kind of all that
Yep.
happened. But things happen, dude. We are human, and it doesn't just happen to us. It's happened to a lot of our friends, and you hate to see it. You really do. You hate to see it when that happens, and you see the post, or you see people making a video going, I'm really sorry, guys, and you just know it's going to come with a lot of disgruntled and fans or some hate. But you have to look after yourself so that you can come back and continue to do it. We're 15 years in. If we screwed ourselves up in the beginning, we wouldn't be here right now talking about it.
Yeah, you guys always put on a good show. I think I saw you guys with Papa Roach when you came through, the Roxy.
You got to bring it when you're playing with Papa Roach. Those guys are insane. Those
Oh my
guys are
gosh.
great live. Like honestly, one of my favorite bands to watch live. Like Jacoby has got, I don't know how he does it. The energy that guy has. How can you not bring it when you're on tour with Papa Roach? Like, you got to, dude. They'll expose you.
One of the most memorable shows was 2014 Mayhem Fest. Dude, we need to bring back Mayhem Fest. That thing was awesome.
Some of my favorite tours. Oh wow, Mayhem was, well, quite literally mayhem. It was awesome, man. Awesome. Had a great time.
That was a good time. I think Danny might have been sick or something. He was spitting all over the stage or something. I think he might have had a sinus infection or something. I don't know.
Or he was just being gross.
Man, that was a hot show. Oh my gosh, but it was awesome.
Yeah, those summer ones are no joke. Even like you said, seeing as 2011 Warped Tour, I I vividly remember having to pour Monster tour water on my feet just so my feet didn't melt to the monitors on stage. Like, ugh, playing out in the sun. I don't know how, and we're just here. I am complaining. I've just walked on stage for like 30 minutes. There's people out there that are out there all day. How I don't know how people do it, man. These summer festivals.
We suffer, man. I mean, it's hot. It's hot here
That's
in the
dedication.
South.
That's yeah, yeah, it is, and it gets humid too.
Oh, yeah.
Which we don't. We get the heat in Arizona. I mean, I'm not there anymore, but at least it's dry. But here, it just feels like it's like someone's put a coat of like moisture over you. It's crazy. No joke.
Well, let's talk about the brand new album that you guys have out August
Yeah.
25th here in a couple days. But tell me about this album, what you guys are looking to do. And I'm going to go through some tracks and some notes around there here in a second. But I love the album. I listened to the whole thing multiple times. But what was kind of that direction on this one?
Well, that's great to hear that you're into the album. That's awesome, man. Thank you. The direction, like I said before, I think this one is a culmination. For a long time, we've definitely been exploring different avenues musically, and we've been journeying a little bit here and there with ballads and classic rock, as well as you know, um, you know, this is like the first time in quite a few years where I feel like I love heavy music. I've always been a huge fan of heavy music as well as the ballads and the classic rock. I love my heavy. So for me, this one is one for the fans, and it's also selfishly one for myself because I've got some songs on here that I cannot wait to play live. We played a couple. Well, we've only played one from the new record live, Dark Void.
Yeah.
We did it in Europe, and to see the reaction of the crowd, it took me straight back to Mayhem, to Warped Tour, to that energy live, where it was just like whoa. But at the same time, the music has evolved, and we've managed to bring it to a whole nother level. And I think this record that's coming out, it definitely has all the ingredients of Asking, like everything we've been doing in the past few years, but without turning our back on the early years. That's something I think that we've done without really even kind of realizing it until after the fact of releasing the past few records. But this one had that. We had that in mind. We definitely had the fans in mind, and we definitely wanted to give fans that have been here for such a long time, a bit of a gift, a bit of a throwback to some stuff that we, had in our music back when, as well as some of the stuff we've been doing now. And what we got was just this amazing meld of like genres that is just kind of, I don't know, man. Like I think we might have tapped into something new here, where it's no longer just going to be a record for the fans. It's like a direction that we really enjoy, and I think that after this, like I'm looking forward to see what happens, bringing some heavier stuff back. It kind of relit something in us on this record for sure.
Yeah. And let me go through some of my notes on some of these, about 5 or 6 tracks. And if you want to add anything quick anecdotally after each one, just let me know.
I'm going to make notes on your notes. You've probably got better notes than me.
So yeah, we open up with Bad Blood for the album, I believe. But I like that one, man. Chunky guitar riff, great opener. You got a lot of clean vocals until you bring in those screams at the end. A little bit surprising there, but I think I love those building drums that you guys had there. It's a good opener.
It's such an in-your-face song to kick it off. It really hits you. At first I thought this is definitely one of the heavier songs on the album before we kind of started putting the rest together. But because it's so kind of obnoxiously heavy from the get-go, but even down to Ben's vocals in the bridge, which definitely throws it back to doing some bridges that we've had in previous records, like early records where Ben would sing. Like we needed to get Ben in there too, so it was nice to kind of hear Ben singing again, and then ultimately contrasting with Danny screaming. It was great.
And then Things Could Be Different. Banger of a song. Dude, I think this one might be my favorite.
Is it? I think it's mine. Honestly, I really do. I think it's my favorite tune on the record. It really is. Like,
thank you for leaving something on the record that hadn't been released. You know what I mean? That's like a wow thing.
Oh yeah, dude. That's the thing. Like that's another thing. It's like it's hard to pick which ones to release as singles and stuff, because like sometimes you might have a record where you're, okay, there's 3 that are just like, these are the ones, no doubt about it. But this one's like, damn, it was hard not to pick that. And there's another one, Nothing More as well was another one where we were just, oh, should we? Nearly did. But Things Could Be Different for me with that disco beat that James comes in with the hi-hat. It's just you can't help but move to it. It's so cool, and not to mention the bridge in it is just like the build. It sounds like we've got like influences from like Dune and some cinematic kind of huge sounds that come in that song, and it's going to be huge live. I can't wait to hear it on like a massive PA.
That was my note. This is the one that I wanted to hear live the most.
Yeah,
yeah. I love the chorus. I'm a big chorus guy.
Yeah.
I love the chorus. It's got the melodic nature to it, but he's just like yelling, not screaming, but he's like just yelling the chorus, which I think is awesome.
Yeah, man. I think it just fit perfectly with the song. It's got to be one that we're going to be putting in the set fairly soon. Like it just has to be.
I think people are going to really like that one when they hear it.
Man, definitely. Lots of energy.
Psycho. I think you guys put it out as a single.
We did, yeah.
I love that super pop feel that you guys have to that one. I thought this one was different and memorable. And I always like when bands take risks with things. And so I really enjoyed this one. It kind of stood out.
Nice. No, awesome, man. Yeah, we love this one. It was definitely one that when we were releasing it became quite apparent that it was going to be a radio release for sure. And it did come out that way, and the label loved it. And and I just think it sat really well with the rest of the songs on the album, because we've done some songs a little bit like that in the past. It was a fun one, definitely. And we've been playing around with doing some kind of acoustic versions of it as well. I actually had Cameron around at my house earlier today. He lives down like about 30 minutes from me, so he came to the house and we kind of went through doing we just kind of made a whole acoustic version of it that we might be throwing out on this next tour. Not, maybe doing some radio stuff where we'll do some acoustic versions of that, which I'm excited for. It's a good one. It's kind of crazy. Like it's kind of like you said, it's a bit poppy, but it's like also really dark and twisted. It's like and I know lyrically it is. I don't know if you saw the video for Psycho, but it's pretty much Danny in his house losing his mind. And
yeah, I saw that one. Now that I remember, yeah.
Which there's not it looks like there's a lot of effects on there, but it's actually just Danny looking. It's just Danny losing his mind. But I'm looking forward to playing that one too.
And then Dark Void. I think this is probably my second favorite on the album. I like that one. It's
well, man, this is one we played in Europe. We actually tested this out on the European circuit, European festival circuit. Wow, dude,
they liked it.
We played it towards the end of the set just to throw it in there before we left. And there was not one person stood still. Like that went down. I can't wait to play this in America and see how it goes down. See, I've said this before. Like, I think a song has two lives. I think it's got a life where you listen to it, whether that be on your headphones, in your car, on your monitors, in the studio, whatever. And then you've got to see it live because it has a whole other life live. You don't realize what a song. I don't know, man. And I realized that. I've realized that after touring for so many years that there might be a song that I'm like, yeah, cool. So it's cool, but like live, maybe my favorite song on the whole record live. But that one is a good one live for sure.
Yeah, it's dynamic. It switches things up throughout the whole song, and keeps you really on the edge. And so, totally. And also, of course, incredible vocals on that, and I love the chorus on that one. And that guttural scream in the opening is definitely cool.
I think that might be that was the first single we released, and I think it was a bit of a statement. Because so many people have been asking for Danny to scream again, and he can't scream, he doesn't know how to scream anymore. It's just like, what? Okay, well that's not true.
I think those people just haven't been paying attention. There's definitely screams on these last albums, and if you see them live, there's screams. People just aren't paying attention.
They're not paying attention, but at the same time, maybe they just want it. You've got to listen as well. You can't be. We can't be so combative to people saying things like that, because if they feel that way, then obviously you've kind of got to be objective. You've got to kind of be like, all right, why do they feel that way? What could they possibly mean when they say that? Okay, maybe they just need it a little bit more blatant. Introducing Dark Void, like you say, let's give them something that you can't even question. Like, it's for something for the fans, man. Like if that's what you want, let's give it to them. Perfectly capable of doing it, and I'm not gonna lie, we actually found that we really love to do it again. It kind of relit something in us, for sure.
All right, Let the Dead Take Me. I thought this one was different. I liked it. It was super catchy, different sound, kind of that punky feel. Yeah. And I would say this is my third favorite song on the album.
Nice. It is way different. It's definitely. I got this one sent to me, and it's very bass driven in the beginning with James on drums as well. When Matt sent it to me, I was just like, "Whoa, okay, damn, this is pretty cool. This is different, way different." I was like, "This is a curveball, like completely different sound." But then it fully kind of breaks down and again in the bridge and takes you on another journey where it's just like vocally so kind of um somebody compared it to Nightmare Before Christmas, like Danny Elfman, kind of really like it was weird. It was a bit twisted and dark, but like it took you on a bit of a theatric journey as well. And I definitely got that in the bridge too. But then it comes straight back in with that driving riff too. It's an exciting one to record for sure.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty memorable. I like the electronic elements that was in there, and then
Yeah,
I like the lyrics. I thought they were a little bit more on the spiritual or Christian side, which I thought was pretty cool and a nice change up of things of washing away sins and stuff. So I thought that was
yeah.
different and cool.
Yeah, man. Danny, you never know what you're going to get lyrically with Danny. He's a great lyricist. I mean, I could sit here and talk about how much of a good singer he is, but like, it's one thing to be able to sing, but like lyrics, Danny's always been quite like he's better. I think he's better at like portraying himself like through song and through music. That's his best. That's the best. That's how you're going to know Danny. Like, that's how you're going to get to know Danny the best is through his music, through his songs, and
Interesting.
lyrically. I genuinely think, and then he's one of the closest people to in my life. I've known the guy forever, and you never know what you're going to get with Danny. He's off the wall, crazy. He says the wildest stuff, and but when he puts pen to paper, and he's a fantastic lyricist, and he's very clever. He's a very clever lyricist. You've definitely got to read between a lot of the lines on a lot of our songs because he's got these hidden meanings and these I just massive respect on the lyric front too because he's been doing it a long time and even when he was a kid like some of the stuff he was even like some of the lines that he would come out with like a monkey in a man suit on some of the earlier songs I was like who says that at 17 18 years old I'm just he prolific stuff man cool.
That's interesting. And then of course Kill It With Fire, which is, total hardcore punk sound that really catches you for a loop, minute long song with double bass.
Yeah.
That's a cool switch up there. I
That's
like that.
Ben's going off on that one vocally. Like Ben's like screaming on that one. That's crazy. Like he sent us that as like I remember him sending. I was having dinner, I think, with my family, and he's like, "Yeah, what? Check this out." He sent it to me, and I was like, "What the hell is that?" Like, it's like, "Yeah, I wanted to just. We're just gonna do. Screw it. Let's just throw it on." I was like, "You know what? Why not? Why not? It's
Why
so.
not?
Why not? Like, who cares? Like, it's so raw and rough and like not at all it's such an unpolished song, and I love that about it. Like he said, it's a really raw punk sound, and James goes off, and what a way to end it.
Yeah. And then I think Holding On to Something More. I like this song. Really great rock chorus. I felt like this is probably the most mainstream rock song that's on the album. And I liked it. It was different, positive message, but
Yeah,
yeah, that one's good.
yeah, man. We got never shy away from doing a couple ballads here and there and stuff too. I wouldn't necessarily call it a ballad, but like it's definitely got that kind of
Yeah.
like you say, you definitely got that rock feel for sure. Dude. Overall, I think the album's such a well-rounded album because it's got something for everybody on it.
Yeah.
Over the entire discography of our band.
That one's probably the most digestible for like
Yeah,
somebody who's not into the screaming or,
for
you
sure,
know,
for sure. That's a nice way of putting it.
yeah. And then of course the title track, Where Do We Go From Here? Which is, it kind of threw me for a loop a little bit when I was listening to it because it
Mhm.
starts off slow and sad. It's got violins and
Yeah,
piano, but then it really builds up to rocking out. And
it
yeah,
is
it made more
powerful,
sense
man.
of why it was the title track.
That song gives me chills. Like it's such a powerful song, and when Danny brought it to us, it was like a bit of a no brainer that title had to be the title of the album because not only is this album for us, it's for our fans. Like I keep saying, and it's such a question that anybody could ask themselves. And people, I'm sure everybody does ask themselves this at some point in their life, if not more than once. No one's got life figured out. You never know what's going to happen. We've been doing this as long as we've been doing it, and we continue and plan on doing it for until we can't do it anymore. But who knows where do we go from here? Could genuinely fit into anyone's life, that question. You know, we were kids, and a lot of our fans were kids and have grown up now and having families of their own, and we're all kind of going through this life together. And it's just like it's a bit of a question. You know, the we in that title doesn't necessarily mean us as a band. It's all of us, I think. You know, um, and it just struck us when he brought the title to us. I was just like, damn. It kind of like fired so many questions off for us that it just had to. It was a no-brainer, really.
So, Sam, was there any songs that you guys put out that you didn't think were going to be a hit, but hit really hard, either from a message standpoint, or just the crowd likes to hear them live, or they became radio singles or something?
Yeah, probably when we did. This is going back a little bit now, but when we did "Someone Somewhere," I think that was the first kind of radio rock kind of digestible sing along song that we did, and that was coming from us being a complete screamo metalcore band. So when we released it, we were a little bit apprehensive because we didn't know how it was going to be received. But it did really well, and it was really well kind of received, and we thought that it was definitely kind of an eye opener into the fact that we could make what music we wanted to make, and it didn't really matter. But it was a slow burner too. It wasn't like immediately. It was just like, oh my gosh, this is like this. It grew on people, I think, and it definitely grew on us, and it led us to making more ballads like that. We went on and did "Moving On" and some other ones, kind of like it. But I thought at first we were a little bit. I was a bit nervous, honestly, because we were just a super heavy band, and but Danny, we made the song, and it was almost, it would have been a shame to not. So we did, and we took the risk and went for it, and it went down great. Definitely.
Do you guys have a rival band that you compare yourselves to or compete with? One that maybe you competed with and made you guys better?
Oh man, I don't really think that ever's been in our kind of mindset, which is crazy because I do see that a lot in our scene and our genre of, and that's crazy to me because like in the rock metal world, I see that all the time, and it's like I wish that mindset wasn't necessarily a thing. I think I personally wish we were all a little bit more supportive and kind of like I don't know, but there's not wrong really with a bit of healthy competition, but I can't really pull one off the top of my head. Honestly, I really can't.
It's
I
probably
didn't
better
go,
for your health not to have that.
dude. I'm telling you, it really is, man. It really, if you start stressing about stuff like that, what are you doing? I mean, I don't know. Personally, I'm just maybe when I was younger, when we were younger, we were a little bit like that. But yeah, honestly, just not in my headspace at the moment to be like that. I'm super stoked, dude. There's bands we've been touring with and have toured with since like 2009 that are doing really well now, and I can only think there's some of like our best friends on the road, and it's great to see them killing it. Like for example, like Motionless in White, they're absolutely killing it right now, and we've our first ever tour was with those guys, and we toured with them a lot over the years, and it's just they're killing it right now, and it's just nothing but like love, and like those guys are great, Chris and Ryan. It's like it's just good to see. I just wish there was more like that.
So, what would you say is the worst show that you've ever played? Maybe it was a bad performance you had, a bad crowd, small crowd, or maybe just a weird venue.
It'll
But what
never
comes to mind?
I'll never be able to get away from it. It'll haunt me till the end of time. It's when we played Seattle, and Danny was just too obliterated drunk to even get on stage, and we were just all too drunk, but he was just like blackout, and it was pretty much we couldn't finish the set. It was that bad, and it was not the biggest show, but it was a bit of a turning point for us to realize that we just needed to kind of get our act together and figure our stuff out a little bit. But yeah, Seattle, and I can't remember what year it was, but I think it was around the years of From Death to Destiny, or even From Death to Destiny. I think those crazy years have just been around some pretty bad people and not the best influences, and also just been wrapped up in this crazy lifestyle that seemed to be traveling at like 100 miles an hour. But it was a show in Seattle, and I'll forever be just like, oh, I'll bow my head in shame about that show. But we've turned it around and acknowledged it, and if anything, I can say that we've probably used that night to better ourselves and as a benchmark to never let ourselves stoop to that point again. you know Definitely, you got to, man. You got to acknowledge it, not just the good. You got to kind of you got to acknowledge the bad too. That's growth, isn't it? At the end of the day.
So these next questions are what we close with and ask everyone. So first question, what would
Yeah.
you tell your 21-year-old self?
What would I tell? That's 21. Right. What would I tell my 21? Uh, this is a hard one. You hit me with some real. I wish you'd have asked me this in the beginning so I could have thought about it.
No, the reason why I ask it is it's when we're allowed to drink in America. You're old enough to know better, but you're still pretty dumb. Especially us guys, we don't really, I feel like, fully mature until we're in our late 20s, and
Yeah.
but we got the freedom to make all the dumb decisions legally. So,
Oh, well, we were
um,
doing all those dumb decisions before we were allowed to do them anyway. So
of course, that's why I said legally.
yeah. I was gonna say like when I was 21, maybe I was gonna say maybe chill out on the drinking a little bit, not even start, but yeah, probably chill. I don't know because like without doing that, I probably we wouldn't. It's the butterfly effect, isn't it? You never know where you'd be if you didn't live the life you lived. And I don't want to go back and say, oh, I would have changed this, but at 21, I was right where I would have changed a single thing, man. I was loving life and do love life, and I I'm super grateful for all of the things that we were able to do. And at 21, what year was that? I'm 32 now, so that was 11 years ago. I mean, what was it? 2000? Was it 2011?
2012.
2012? Right, that was right around Warped Tour Mayhem. So around that time, probably all right. Probably not headbang so much, so you won't have so many neck and back problems later on in life.
All right, next question. What are you drinking lately? If you don't drink alcohol, it could be anything refreshing you like to drink.
Now I love bourbon. I love an old fashioned. Now
Ooh,
I love an old fashioned. Since coming to Nashville, it's become my drink of choice. And you know, Four Roses, small batch select with I make myself an old fashioned on a night. It's just like kids are in bed. I get to just relax and chill responsibly with some alcohol. That's my little treat.
I love me some old fashioned. I need to get the kit to make them here in the house because
Yeah,
I do
yeah.
love
Well,
them.
dude, a nice big ice cube in your glass too to go.
And so, as you know, this is Rock Down South. So, what is something, or maybe a couple things that come to mind that you love about the South?
First off, the people, they're so friendly. They're so like I was like on a high for the first week when I came to Nashville and we moved here, and everyone was just like it was like night and day. The people here are just so real and so like friendly and like open arms and just it kind of reminded me a little bit from where I'm from in Yorkshire in England and a little bit, but even nicer. So to me, the people are just wonderful. I love the food too. I like some Nashville hot chicken. I like obviously I like a bit of barbecue as well, but the the people, man, the people, so awesome. You know, I feel like I've met so many people here in a year, more people in that I could call friends here in a year than I probably met in 5 years. Have been in any of the other states that I was in, just because everyone's so willing to give you the shirt off their back, and they're just real about it, man. Like, not to mention they've been so great to my own children. My oldest have just started school, and they've been great. Yeah, he's learning to swim, and his swim teacher like genuinely cares, and like it's just nice, dude, to see people genuinely, be as real as they are without it seeming like anyone's got any kind of agenda or anything. Like it's just the way it is down here. So definitely.
Have they gotten you into country music yet? Hanging out at the country bars and
I
everything?
like country music. I've made some friends that are, that are into
Awesome.
country and stuff too. And yeah, I do. I like country. I'm not, I like all kinds of music, man. And it kind of, it's kind of daunting when you go down to like, down in downtown to Nashville. Like there's some talent down there. Like you can obviously do Broadway where everyone goes, and you go to like some of the writers' rounds off of the strip, and you see some of these artists that are just incredible, man. So how could you not like it? Honestly, personally.
Well, we love it, and it's awesome that you're in Nashville now. So, yeah, that's fantastic. Thank you so much, Sam, for being a part of the show today. Where can people find and connect with you guys online?
Yeah, you can find us askingalexandria.com. You can go to our socials on, Instagram, Asking Alexandria, and all the other handles are the same, really. Asking Alexandria. You can find us everywhere.
All right, brand new album out. Where do we go from here? Everybody go bump it.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much for listening to the show today. We hope y'all enjoyed this episode. I had an absolute blast talking with Sam. He's a super cool guy and really fun and easy to talk with. Asking Alexandria is such a legendary band here in the hard rock and heavy metal space, and I was super blessed to talk with them. I've been a fan of their music for years, and this episode was really special to me. So make sure to go follow Sam Bettley and Asking Alexandria on all of their social media pages and check out their brand new album titled Where Do We Go From Here, out now. You can check out all our content at rockdownsouth.com and make sure to go follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter for the latest updates. Leave us a 5-star review if you can. We would really appreciate it. And as always, the views and opinions expressed by our guests are theirs and don't necessarily reflect our own. I'm Mark, and you've been listening to Rock Down South. See y'all next time.